With the second semester coming to a close, there is barely enough time to make any remarks on what had happened throughout this odd experience, unless you're someone like me, who most likely makes time for things that would normally take people one-fourth the effort and half the time. It's easy to become fascinated with other cultures. The same goes for finding out about strange and unheard of, or even familiar but misunderstood religions. The go-to response is comparison between what we have in common and the trying to make sense of this stuff through equivalence with what has been taught to us. That is fine. But once we study religion as a social phenomenon, we are better off at doing something else. The word is methodological atheism. If you are a Christian or any person of faith, then don't worry. Hindi ako parte ng kulto. You're also not going to become a non-believer. This was a big misunderstanding when that topic was brought up on the first day. I couldn't help but furrow my brows when I saw everyone's reaction. I'll give you some ideas about what it is and what it isn't. It is the suspension of belief for the intent of studying other religions. Pero, Marcos, bakit ka naman gagawin yun? I can be a scientist and a good Christian. Bahala ka. I know you can, Ezekiel, pero more often than not, trying to keep your faith as close to you as you look into other faiths might interfere with how you understand things. It may even be possible that you're doing so in the attempt to prevent dissuasion from your own religion. It is not a way of destroying trust and faith among believers and learners. Before you feel a pang of fear run down your spine, remember that if you can learn anything, zero ka. Day, sabay pa nating pinangarap ang lahat. Joke lang. What is a deity? Have you ever seen a deity? This word will crop up in translations and studies of many different religions and folklores. Sometimes what counts as a deity varies. Well, according to its etymology, a deity is circa 1300s. Divine nature, godhood, attributes of a god. Late 14th century. Or 1400, I'm not really sure, but it's just 14 and C. You understand what I mean, right? So, late 14th C, a god. God, the supreme being, or self-existing spirit. From Old French, deite, deite. From late Latin, deitatem, nominative, deitas, or divine nature. Coined by Augustine from Latin, deus, God. From Proto-Indo-European, or Pi, deus, God. From root, deu, to shine. In derivatives, sky, heaven, God. From 1580s as a being to whom a divine or godlike nature is attributed. So Slenderman a deity then. If Jollibee has enough money to pay for your lifetime wages, and just so happens to buy you for good, then is it a deity? I wouldn't want to think about being a large, red bee slave. Deities are important because they serve purposes in many cultures and religions. Such examples are those of the grass you try to stay away from, tabi-tabi po, or the moon and the sun. The Trimurti refers to the three highest gods of the Hindu pantheon that perform their own special functions. They are important enough that, once removed or any of them are taken out of the equation, the universe would fall into imbalance, which, in Hinduism, is essential and strewn throughout their basic practices and beliefs. For without balance, the world as we know it would cease to exist. But why is that? Why would one god matter if the Hindus believe in dozens of them? The answer lies in what they do and what they are capable of. Starting from the creator deity, Brahma, who created the human race and the world, holds a special place in our daily activities. The day and night cycle is said to be his work. You wouldn't want to be in the dark all the time now, would you? Shiva is the destroyer of the world and the god of destruction, whose sole duty is to dissolve the universe into nothingness by the end of time. He is responsible for the passing of things like old habits. He destroys not for a negative reason, but for the allowance of new things to take form, to renew, and to evolve. Shiva in this sense permits improvements to happen, for impediments to progress be undone, for the removal of illusions, ignorance, and malicious nature, from bad memories and toxic relationships to harmful experiences and destructive vices, for people to change, for balance to remain, with his task monumental and imparts to ensure the order of the universe. Vishnu is the preserver of the universe. He is also called the divine arbitrator, protecting justice and moral order through mediating arguments either between gods or men. Vishnu has been around for a long time. He is both an old and a recent god, in existence for a forgotten span of time in addition to reincarnating in several different forms. As already stated, he is a mediator, making sure that the Vedic laws are observed. But his prime purpose is the preservation. But of what, exactly? Vishnu helps maintain the existence of Brahma's creations and sustains the universe. There cannot be only destruction, lest we hope to see the end of time too soon. Vishnu, along with Shiva, completes a natural cycle that encompasses our entire existence. Day and night, light and dark, gain and loss, birth and death. He perpetuates things in order to balance out destruction. He lets them happen long enough for new things to replace them. The Trimurti, in essence, keeps us alive. The Trimurti, in essence, keeps us alive. Without them, the world, as we know it, would cease to exist. The gods would, of course, not exist without the Brahman. The Brahman is a concept you will struggle to understand if you try to look for an equivalent based on what you know. Although it isn't bad to do that, a Gnosiocentric approach would stop anyone from being able to understand what it really is. And to be honest, nobody really knows who or what the Brahmin is. It may sound fruitless for me to go on, but in reality, it really is what it really is. Reality. Something with no beginning or end, neither a creation nor a destruction, the source of all things. The Brahman is everywhere, and it is the supreme principle, the truth, the way. There are descriptions in the Upanishads. I'll read them, but how you will come to understand is up to you.
This self has entered into these bodies up to the very tips of the nails as a razor lies hidden in its case, whereas the fire which sustains the world lies hidden in its source. It has hands and feet everywhere, and eyes, heads and faces everywhere, and it is possessed of ears everywhere. It exists among all the creatures, pervading all. He is without hands and feet, and yet moves and grasps. He sees, though without eyes. He hears, though without ears. He knows whatever is to be known, and of him there is no knower. They speak of him as the first, the supreme person. You are the woman. You are the man. You are the boy. And you are the girl too. You are the old man tottering with his stick, taking birth. You have your faces everywhere. You, indeed, are the blue bee. You, indeed, are the green parrot having red eyes. You, indeed, are possessed of lightning in your womb. You, indeed, are the seasons and the seas. You, indeed, are without beginning. You exist as the omnipresent, from whom have sprung all the worlds. As from a fire kindled with red fuel, various kinds of smoke issue forth. Even so, my dear, the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Samaveda, the Atharvangirasa, the Itihasa, Purana, Vidya, Upanishads, Slokas, Sutras, the Vyakyanas, sacrifices, oblations in the fire, food, drink, this world, and all beings are all like the breath of the infinite reality. From this supreme self are all these, indeed, breathed forth.
Here is a quote from Sri Ramakrishna on the Brahman.
What Brahman is cannot be described. All things in the world, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras, the 6 systems of philosophy, have been defiled, like food that has been touched by the tongue. Only one thing has not been defiled in this way, and that is the Brahman. No one has ever been able to say what a Brahmin is. Brahman is beyond word and thought. It is said in the Vedas that Brahman is of the nature of bliss. It is Sachidananda. In Samadhi, one attains the knowledge of Brahman. One realizes Brahman. In that state, reasoning stops altogether, and man becomes mute. He has no power to describe the nature of Brahman.
We can somewhat infer that the Brahman is everywhere, and it is what holds reality together. Rather, it is reality. When people think of religion, there's always someone who's going to think about afterlife. When the prime religions Filipinos are mostly exposed to are Abrahamic, such as Christianity and Islam, it then becomes easy to expect something along the lines of heaven. Once you get to Hinduism, the soteriology takes a dramatic shift. Moksha, the word meaning liberation, comes to signify the release from samsara, which is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, from which an individual is reincarnated each and every time into something based on what they had done in that life. In Buddhism, life is dukkha, or it is suffering. When we live, it is never objective. Rainbows may shine for you, but a person right behind you may only see the shadow you cast. Darkness. Life allows one to both experience pain and pleasure. The ultimate goal of the Vedic religions is this escape from suffering, to break free the chains which bind the soul to the physical realm and allow it to merge with the infinite cosmos of the Brahman Atman. No fruits, no rivers, or angels in music. The bliss of rest, the bliss of oneness. Moksha is the only time when one will experience true bliss and nothing more. Moksha is part of something that we call a purusartha, a central concept and the utmost aim during human life. It can be achieved through dharma, or the virtuous, proper, and moral life. Artha, material prosperity, income security, and means of life. And kama, pleasure, sensuality, and emotional fulfillment. These 4 make the purusartha in Hinduism. Literally, it means purpose of human being, or object of human pursuit. The purpose of being alive, raison d'être. While reading your textbook, you will see the Roman Empire appear in many different places, which has to do with Judaism and Christianity, either in as a whole or in its eastern and western half. But what do they have to do with any of these religions? Aren't they the bad guys who crucified our main man, Jesus Christ? Starting around 3,000 years ago, the Roman Empire first began as a Latin tribe in central Italy whose neighbors were really big and powerful. They were bullies too, maybe just a little bit.
So they curbed stomped their neighbors into joining.
It was a really nice frat. He got to join the crew and have passports. Soon enough, this fraternity got really big until it ate up the entire Italian peninsula, North Africa, Western Europe, and then fast forward to a few centuries later until they have reached Judea, where the Jews lived. One day, the people there heard of this guy named Jesus, who had the gall to claim to be the Son of God. I know, right? Said a Jew. Since Christianity did not really exist at that time, and the followers of Jesus were really just Jews who looked up to this one dude, every other Jew hated him. The Jews called for Jesus to be punished for blasphemy. It got really loud, really raucous. Word eventually reached the provincial governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate. or how his name is in Latin Apostles' Creed, Poncio Pilato, who was soon forced to do something.
Sandali! Sandali!
Crucify him!
Hold on! Ang ingay!
Crucify him!
Wait lang, wait. Sige. Ginusunod to Pre, sorry.
It's fine. Ginusto naman ni Papa to.
Grabe namang yung papa mo.
It's fine. He's God anyway.
How could we speak in English in Filipino? Those languages shouldn't exist at this time, di ba?
Pabayaan mo na. Project naman to. Para kay Sir Wesley.
Alright. I see. Wait. Sino si Sir Wesley?
Parang Diyos na rin.
At pinatay si Jesus.
Rome then was pagan, Roman and Greek gods and all. But after the death of Jesus Christ, marches sprung up everywhere. Followers of Christ wished to emulate him and showed no fear in being a Christian, even at a time when it meant death, or pakain sa leon. Martyrdom only served as an inspiration for more people to fight for their religion until one day it was suddenly
Legalized.
it was even made the state religion of this empire. From this you could tell how impactful this was to a nation so large, occupying what were to become the colonizers in the future. Besides its laws, culture, language, and arts, the Roman Empire became a vehicle not only to be what we are today, but also in delivering Christianity to the rest of the world. It's hot today, and it's also lonely. Hindi masama uminom ng malamig, lalo na kapag mainit. But since hindi pa gawa yung yelo namin sa ref, at saka bawal lumabas, I have to suffer dahil gusto ko ng malamig na tubig. Ang sitwasyon ko ngayon is a prime example for why desire is said to be the cause of suffering. When we want one thing, it feels good to have it. But if this desire goes unfulfilled, it will fill the minds and hearts of a person with grief. But if this desire goes unfulfilled, it will fill the mind and the heart of a person with grief. Desire is something Buddhism seeks to eliminate. By abandoning all worldly and material things, they take strides towards enlightenment. Mas magaan nga naman ang buhay kung wala kang inaatim na makuha. Buti pa si Goku, nakasakay sa ulap. Gusto mo bang sumama? Tara, alapaap. Base sa Taoism, ang mundo ay may natural na estado. Tao ang tawag dito. Ito, Tao, ang naghahampas ng alon sa pader ng isang mataas na bangin. Ito, Tao, ang pag-agos ng tubig pababa ng isang tirik na bundok. Ang Tao, sabi, Tao nila, ay pumapaligid sa atin at ito ang katotohanan, ang laging nandiyan at pumupulipot sa lahat ng dulo ng realidad. Hindi gusto ng mga Taoist o yung mga mahilig magsabi ng Tao, yung tagusunod ng relihiyong Taoism, ang pagpigil sa natural na gampanin ng mga bagay-bagay. Hindi sila gumagamit ng phone o CP dahil hindi ito natural. Ayaw nila sa formal na edukasyon dahil masyado itong estrukturada. Kung kaya naman, katulad ng mga maraming Pilipino diyan, huwag na kayo mag-aral, maging Taoist na lang tayo. Kidding aside, ang wu-wei o non-action ay pagiging natural. Sa pag hindi sunod sa mga japik at contrived na bagay, naatim natin at nakikisabayan ang Tao. Mula sa pagsabay sa Tao, ang ating buhay ay hahaba. Ultimo, ang goal sa Taoism ay magkaroon ng mahabang buhay sa pamamagitan ng pagiging natural. Napaka-importante daw nito upang maatim ang kasiyahan. What is halal? At bakit siya nasa mga pagkain? Harap ng restaurant, minsan nasa TV. Kumpanya ba yan? O multo ni Steve Jobs? I first encountered halal nung nasa 9 gag ako. Bata pa ako nun. Haram daw. Ano yung haram? queso de bola at hamonado lang nasa isip ko. So I looked it up just to make sure kung tama pa. Hindi pala. I still can't believe natuto ako kakabasa ng memes. Huwag na lang tayo mag-aaral. Tara, mag-9 gag na lang tayo. Halal just means something which is allowed by the divine law. May bawal kasi sa mga Muslim, gaya ng mga Kristiyano. They have things they need to follow if they want to be a good Muslim. Halal ang manok, pero haram naman ang yobab. Please don't give pork to your devout Muslim friends. Sumalangit nawa. Ichthyosaur, isang extinct marine reptile. From ichthus, meaning fish, at sauros, meaning lizard. Ako, ngayon ko lang ito nakita. Yung simbolo pala na to, na dati akala kong isang simbolo sa politika, ay may kinalaman pala kay Jesus. Ang simbolong ito ay hugis isda. Kaya naman ichthus ang naging isang tawag dito. Ito ay isang acronym na nangangahulugang Jesus Christos Theo Uyos Soter o Jesus Christ of God, Son, Savior. Si Jesus ay naihalin tulad sa isang isda sa Biblia. May mga kwento din kung saan ang pangingisda at ang mga isda ay may simbolikong kahulugan. Madalas itong ginuguhit sa lupa at sa pader. Kapag kumuhit ka sa lupa, pwede kang masabihan ng, ganda ng isda mo ah. Salamat, pre. Pero, minsan, magmumukha kang sira. May tsansa na baka Kristiyano rin ang katabi mo. Hindi mo lang alam. May gwardya kasi. Romano. Legionaryo. Full set pa. Level 50 Gallic helmet. Bawal maging Kristiyano dati. Yata makakan. Kaya kung gusto mong malaman, gumuhit ka na lang ng isda. Kung di mo trip hawakan ng lupa, magpatato ka na lang sa braso. Nasalba ka na. Nakapag-flex ka pa. Dahil sa ichthus, buhay na buhay ang paglalaganap ng Christianity underground. Parang indie music lang, pero religious. Dahil dito, tumagal ito hanggang sa naging legal at lumaganap buong mundo.